Okay, welcome everybody. It is great to see all of your faces. Thank you all so much for coming to this evening. We're going to have we have a packed house and a packed schedule, and I want to get started right away. I'm Rabbi Devorah Lynn, and I am the co-chair of Jewish Earth Alliance, and we welcome back all of our, can we mute? So we need to mute somebody?
I am muting as I go.
Okay. We welcome back our regulars, and I welcome all of those who are new to Jewish Earth Alliance, and hope that you will join us in our lobby day next month, and we'll talk more about that later. If you if you would enter your name and where you are from into the chat, that would be terrific. And know that we are going to go over a bit tonight. Usually we are just an hour, but we're going to be going over because we have such a full house and so much to do. So I hope that you will stay until the end and help us with our action on a climate action at the end of the meeting. So please plan on staying for an extra about 15 minutes or so to participate in our climate action. So I'm going to start with a few words of Torah, very few words. We're entering the 6 weeks before Tisha B'Av, the lowest part of the Jewish calendar. And I'm fascinated that the main reason given in the Talmud, the commentary on the Torah, for why the 2 Jerusalem temples were destroyed, and we commemorate that on Tisha B'Av, was sinat chinam, sometimes translated as baseless hatred. But the stories that are told to support that don't describe baseless hatred. I mean, to us, the reasons may seem trivial, but they have reasons why they hate each other. What's more accurate is the translation, unmitigated hatred. Hatred.
Devorah, you just muted yourself.
Devorah, if you can unmute yourself, bottom left corner.
Got it. So what's more accurate about the translation of sinat chinam is unmitigated hatred, hatred that cannot be reduced or calmed. It can't even be stabilized. What's the word that we use for responding to climate change? Mitigation. Mitigation of emissions, the same translation, reducing and stabilizing the levels of heat trapping greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the unmitigated disregard for Earth, our home. That's what we're fighting for through our legislators, action on mitigating the consequences that are already in motion. May we support each other, all of us together here, and all those who are activists on climate. May we support each other in this sacred work to activate those who are wise to what's happening, to understand those who are rebellious, to educate those who are seeking answers, and transmit this compassion to the next generations. May we work to mitigate the discord we see in the world that delays the essential work needed to heal Earth, our home. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be so. So let me get started right away. I would like to first introduce Eli Lippman, who will introduce our first speaker. He is the executive director of Move LA, whose mission is to create an affordable, accessible regional transportation system with housing nearby so all people can thrive in LA County. Move LA is responsible for nearly $4 billion in public funding per year for public transportation, affordable housing, homeless services, and clean air. If you think public transportation in LA is an oxymoron, this last Friday, the LA Metro opened 3 new stations and boasts the longest light rail line in the entire world at 49 and a half miles from Azusa to Long Beach, connecting the enormous region of LA County with one seamless transit system. Welcome to my son.
I'm just taking a photo because this is a cool moment, because Devorah is my mom. If for those that know her, so this is a very cool moment to be hanging out with my mom, doing Jewish and environmentally important work with Congress. So thanks for inviting me, and I'm just really excited because there's three of my favorite folks in Southern California on this call. The incredible Ed Begley Jr., who spoke at our conference a couple weeks ago. And I'm sure Devorah is going to share the video of him riding in the front of an electric bicycle, going to get his groceries with my friend Michael Schneider, another great Jewish leader here in Southern California, talking about how you can get around on a bike in Los Angeles pretty easily. So he's just fantastic. We love him. He's a huge champion of transportation, and his kid is a wonderful TikToker who also rides around on the bus as well and goes to the Oscars with him. So that's really exciting. Thank you so much, Ed, for being here. But my job is to introduce the incredible leader here in Southern California, Congressman Brad Sherman, representing California's 32nd congressional district and the best named city in California, in the United States, Sherman Oaks. I'm sorry, I took your line, but the honest truth is I worked for Brad Sherman for over a year in his regional office, in his district office. It was quite a while ago, actually. Now we're going on 17 years, I think, that I've known Congressman Sherman. But he's really an environmental champion. He's a senior member on the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the Financial Services Committee. He's the top Democrat on the subcommittee on capital markets. He's one of only a handful of certified public accountants in Congress. He's an environmental champion. He is a huge champion for Israel, and he's an all-around great dad and a mensch. And so I'd like to hand it over to my friend, my congressman forever, Congressman Brad Sherman.
Thank you so much. And indeed, I'm Brad Sherman from California's best named city, Sherman Oaks. Eli, you got the introduction right, except there's one thing you got wrong. You think you only worked for me for a year. You never stopped working for me. I just stopped paying you. And I look forward to you working with me until we get affordable rail through the Sepulveda Pass, the most congested highway. And I'm sure the greatest source of greenhouse gases from vehicles anywhere in this country. I'm very happy to be with you and to be with my friend Ed Begley Jr., who I know will speak later and who I've worked with for decades. And he doesn't just talk about environmentalism and advocate for it. He exemplifies it in everything he does. And long before we were talking about global warming, Ed Begley Jr. was there on a bicycle. And I know later you're going to hear from Adam Schiff, who's just an outstanding leader in the House of Representatives, particularly on environmental issues. And he's a nice Jewish boy. So what else could you want from a guy? I've served in Congress for over 26 years. My voting record is 100% in accord with the suggestions of the Sierra Club and just about every other environmental organization. And I'm proud to have co-sponsored the Green New Deal. Rabbi Lynn, thank you for extending this invitation to speak to the Jewish Earth Alliance, particularly as we kick off Tush B'Av and the lobby day that you are going to have. Since you're going to have a lobby day, I'm going to make a suggestion about how to lobby. But I'm going to tell you the secret that you learn in Politician 101. We're told, make everybody happy with you. But don't put a commitment in writing if you can just nod, and don't nod if you can get by with a smile. I urge you, when you do come to Washington and lobby, have specific, definitive things that you want the member to do, and either get a commitment to do it, or if they put you off and say, well, I can't decide now, exactly which staffer are we going to call, and on what date are we going to call to get a definitive answer as to whether you're going to do number 1, 2, 3, or 4. because if all you want is a smile and a gallon of greenwash, hey, I've been to I've studied Politician 101. That's what the course tells us to provide you. I want to thank you for doing everything you are doing to elevate environmental justice and to focus on the consequences of climate change, which of course include global world scarcity, the prevalence of natural disasters, and the loss of wild habitats. Of course, this is rooted in the Jewish tradition. American Jews will use the term tikkun olam so much of their average vocabulary that I've even somebody asked, well, how do you say tikkun olam in Hebrew? This phrase is central to my outlook in politics, to social action, social justice, and social responsibility. And while tikkun olam is to repair the world, the first step in repairing the world is to stop desecrating the world. First, this means we must embrace science. The International Panel on Climate Change, or the IPCC, has estimated that we have to prevent the temperature from rising more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, or we will face a true cataclysmic disaster, or actually series of disasters. I've done all I can here in Congress, and I want to commend President Biden for rejoining the Paris Climate Accords and for committing us to meet the standards that Obama obligated us to. To meet our obligations, the president has established COP27 Global Net Zero Governmental Initiative to work with world leaders to bring emissions from government operations to zero. And that is exactly what the president is committed to. But we have to go beyond that, because it is the private sector and our private lives that have the greatest impact. That's why we passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which includes $369 billion of investment in climate mitigation and the prevention of the emission of greenhouse gases. This is the most significant thing in history that any country has done. I was a strong supporter of the Inflation Reduction Act, which, after all, was an entirely Democratic bill. It also coordinates with the Build Back Better Act, and of course with the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which, while it was bipartisan, was chiefly a Democratic bill. I don't know how much more time you've allocated for me, and whether I'm coming close to the end of that, but boy, I've got a lot of things to say. So I'll keep
we have
going.
about another minute. Got another minute?
Okay. All I'll say is that people will say that only 15% of the greenhouse gases come from the United States. But what we do to stop greenhouse gases here then develops the technology that gets cheaper for everyone else in the world to use. I'm pleased to have secured $1 million to plant trees through Tree People in the San Fernando Valley. And look forward to trying to closing the Aliso Canyon gas storage facility. And finally, my role on the Financial Services Committee is to work on getting private companies to have to disclose their ESG, basically their environmental impact, which is so important to putting pressure on them to get them to improve their environmental impact. We need to stop also cryptocurrency. The mining from cryptocurrency produces more just the mining operations produce more greenhouse gases than 5 American states, 5 of the smaller American states. So I look forward to working with all of you, and I especially look forward to working with Adam Schiff in the House and then in the Senate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's terrific. You know, I was going to ask you about, I saw everybody nodding at the ESG remark. This is a very knowledgeable group of climate activists, so they know what that means to investors and investment companies. I'm going to introduce Rabbi Melanie Aaron, Rabbi Emerita from Shir Chadash of Los Gatos, and she's going to thank you. And she's also going to introduce our lobby days.
Well, I want to thank the Congressman for his words this evening and also for all of his work, and particularly for that guidance on lobbying. And we will go after commitments because that's what we're there for. So I am very excited about our upcoming lobby days. This time we've chosen 2 days, July 25th and 26th, so that we can be sure to get the appointments that we need. I want to thank all of those who have signed up already to lobby. And I want to encourage everyone on this call to reach out and encourage others to sign up. We do our best work when we work in teams of 4 or 6 constituents. And so your help in recruiting others who live near you will be very valuable. It's likely that we'll be reaching out to the Senate, but we will confirm all of that in our preparatory webinar, which is coming up on July 18th. So be sure to sign up. Once again, we will send you all the material that you'll need. This time, July 25th and 26th, and the days leading up to Tisha B'Av, is really a strategic moment. It's significant on the Jewish calendar because that's a holiday when we remember warnings that were not heeded, but it's also strategic in that it is before the summer recess and a time when a lot happens. I want to say something about people who ask, well, why should we bother to lobby? Either they're with us, they're supportive already, or they're opposed, so what difference does it make? It's very important that we thank our friends. It's very important that we allow them to be able to say, hey, my constituents care about this. They came to my office virtually and lobbied with me. And we also want to remind our opponents that they have constituents who also care deeply about these issues. So Congress needs to hear from us. This current Congress needs a particularly big push. We hope to continue the work that we did on Tu B'Shvat with the Recovering America's Wildlife Act and the Farm Bill's climate messages. And there's a lot more that can be done with emissions standards. So please come and join us for lobby days, July 25th and 26th. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Melanie. That was a really great introduction. Now I have the honor to tell you about our next speaker. Ed Begley Jr. is an American actor who has appeared in hundreds of films, television shows, and stage performances ranging from Saint Elsewhere to Curb Your Enthusiasm, from the movies Spinal Tap, An Officer and a Gentleman, and to the Pineapple Express, to mockumentaries like A Mighty Wind and Best in Show. So why is he here with us tonight, us wonks, or us climate wonks? Because Ed Begley Jr. became known as Hollywood's Mr. Environment. In 1970, he bought his first electric vehicle, a sort of golf cart, and that was just the beginning. A science wonk himself and sick from the air everyone had to breathe in LA, he began his environmental journey riding bicycles, toasting his bread by leg power, becoming a vegan, composting, renovating their home, building a platinum Leeds house with his wife, Rochelle Carson Begley. This did not make him so popular in Hollywood, but he knew it was the right thing to do, and he and Rochelle persisted. You can see Ed advocate for Earth on shows like On Begley Street, where Rochelle and Ed document the renovation of their homes. Living with Ed about the challenges of sharing a home with someone who assesses the carbon footprint of everything. And the hilarious PSAs for the Center for Biological Diversity, public service announcements. I believe he is particularly proud that he rode his bike in the rain to the Oscars in 2015 and took the subway to the Academy Awards with his daughter Hayden this year. It's truly an honor to invite you to speak, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation tonight. And I know it will be very informative as well as fun. Mr. Ed Begley Jr.
Thank you, Rabbi Deborah. I'm so happy to be here with you and your wonderful alliance. It's just, and Eli Lippman, what he's done with Move LA is extraordinary. With my friend Denny Zane, you've just accomplished incredible things. To have this new regional connector as we do, and to have that amount of contiguous miles gives people a chance. It gives them an opportunity to do something other than sit in their car to go long or short distances. And then to be here with a leader like my dear friend Brad Sherman, a deep, dark green environmentalist for many years, as later you'll hear from, of course, the wonderful Adam Schiff, same thing. They get high marks from every environmental group because they're out there doing it all the time. And I'm just humbled to be with you, Rabbi, and thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to your congregation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about how you got started. What was it that motivated you to start at such an early time when it wasn't so popular?
I spent some years out on Long Island, in beautiful Merrick out on the island, but also I grew up in Van Nuys in the San Fernando Valley. And the smog was so bad back then, you couldn't run 20 yards as a young person without wheezing like an asthmatic. And I don't have asthma, thank God. I got a break there being out on Long Island part of the time. And that's how I suppose I don't have it, but all my friends do. And people have emphysema, asthma. People got very, very sick from that smog for years. And here's the most important thing I want people to hear today. Even though we have 4 times the cars since 1970 with the first Earth Day, and millions more people since then, we have a fraction of the smog. Why? Because everything that we thought would work did work. Cleaner power plants, cleaner vehicles, everything that we did big and small really made a difference. And now 4 times the cars, millions more people, a fraction of the smog, that's a big success. We can't stop there, of course. There's still people near the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles that are breathing very dirty air, near the fulfillment centers, the Amazon fulfillment centers and elsewhere, the freeway interchanges. They still have dirty air. We have to fix it for them. And we're going to fix it for everybody and give them opportunities like public transportation and bike lanes that will enable them to do just that.
So I hear it wasn't very pleasant at first, that you got a lot of pushback from your agent and just the Hollywood crowd. It wasn't pleasant.
I think I gave people the creeps. They thought I was going to be accusatory when I saw them or something. How could you get in that SUV? Why are you riding in a limo? I never have ever done that. I invite people to follow and join me in the things that I found to be easy to do and fun to do and cost effective to do. But and again, my name was never on a list in somebody's drawer and a blacklist or what have you. But I think I just scared people. They thought I was going to make trouble on the set or something. And I've been very inclusive with it for years. But I want to say the most important thing, although the stuff that I've done, riding a bike, taking public transportation, becoming a vegetarian, getting solar, all that personal action stuff is very important. There are 3 pillars upon which we built every environmental success. Personal action, that helps a lot, gives you some credibility with legislators and with industry. But then you also need good legislation, and you need, corporate responsibility. And with those 3 things that are all intertwined, of course, they all relate to each other. Without those 3 pillars, it's going to topple over and fall. You need all 3: corporate responsibility, good legislation, and personal action. And that's why the air is cleaner for them, because we had the Clean Air Act, we had companies making cleaner power plants and making cleaner vehicles, and people taking personal action to push those other 2 things forward. And leaders like Adam and Brad Sherman are the ones that made it happen. So I'm grateful forever for these wonderful leaders. Thank you both.
Yeah, we're trying to turn a few other people into leaders, into climate leaders as well. That's one of our main goals. Was there a turning point? Was there, or did it come gradually in LA? Did you feel like there was something that happened in LA that was, big motivator?
Yeah, people started to see the healthcare costs. So many people got asthma and emphysema, and that has a dollar value too. To do nothing has a dollar value in terms of health. And people knew or had in their own family somebody with emphysema, with asthma, lung cancer, God help us, things like that. Everybody knew somebody or in their own family, somebody very close to them that had that. So they finally got the message that it would cost much less to do the things that we could afford first and build on that. You don't run up to the top of Mount Everest. You get to base camp and you get acclimated and you climb as high as you can. That's what I've always urged people to do. It's what I did in 1970. What I wanted in 1970 was really good electric solar panels, and I wanted a fast electric car. I didn't have money for that. Very expensive, hard to get back in 1970. But I did buy a cheap electric car. I bought a bicycle. I already had a bicycle, rode it even more, bought another bus pass, already had one. I did all those things that were cheap and easy. Because everything that I've done since 1970, if you do it in the right order, you save money along the way, and you buy these next things as you're picking the low-hanging fruit higher up on the tree with the money that you save from doing the first things. It's cost effective.
Yeah, you said that people, would say, well, rich people can do this, but you say that the savings are just, you might have to spend more up front, but the savings spread it out.
Exactly. It's a good, and that's the same thing with climate change. If we were wrong about climate change, and we're not, all the people with PhD after the name who study climate say it's happening, and it's happened because of man. And so everybody knows that, but people don't think it's happening out there. Even if we were wrong about it, we're not. Everything that we would do today to solve climate change and make things less impactful with that horrible destruction will also clean up the air in Houston, Bakersfield, and LA, lessen our dependence on foreign oil, and put money in our pockets. What a horrible thing that would be if those three things happened, right? If we were wrong about climate change, and I must say every time we're not, because we are not. It's all very clear science at this point. If we were wrong, we accomplish great things by the things we're doing to address climate.
Yeah, there's a New Yorker cartoon. We were wrong about climate change, but yet the world is so much cleaner and cheaper.
Right. I've seen that one. That's very good.
Yeah. Oh, the movie sets now are green. Is that true? That you helped turn minds about movie sets?
I had a role in it, I suppose, and other people did. My friend Hart Bachner and the people at Environmental Media Association and Earth Communications Office did that. That's two liaison groups that worked with the entertainment industry, the environmental community. What we realized I realized that I think 1989 to 1990, they're having a wonderful, benefit on the soundstage at 20th Century Fox for the rainforest. And I looked over the corner of the soundstage, and that very soundstage, I saw a huge pile of Luan, rainforest plywood. I said, okay, this benefit's wonderful and enjoy the canapes, but if we just didn't buy that over there in the corner of this very soundstage, you're going to do incredible things to mitigate climate change by not supporting that destructive logging. So people started to do that. Then further, they said, look, we're talking about people ride sharing, what have you, and taking public transportation, riding bikes, and people are showing up to do the PSA for that. Celebrities are showing up in a limo. How about we, either borrow a car from a friend that's a clean car for the day that you do that, and maybe one day get a car like that yourself, or drive less, or take the bus or something. So people started doing stuff like that in their lives. Then on set, people started using more energy efficient lighting, like LED lighting, which saves money on the electric bill for the studios. And instead of printing a lot of paper, they started first printing on recycled, then stopped printing it at all. They give people a PDF file that they can open at home without printing any paper in most cases. Energy efficient, and electric vehicles and biodiesel generators, to get people to and from the set and to power the set. They did everything they could on set and in the production offices, everything that they could touch with the production companies that were doing these different shows and movies. They did a lot. And now there's very few shows that do not do it. We have a green checklist of things people can do. Nearly everybody scores 30 or more points, which is a very high score, for doing nearly everything that you can do to make a production company and the set greener.
Oh, you have a checklist for it.
We do.
Manifesto. That's a great.
Yeah, it's like a green seal of approval kind of thing, and people meet the criteria and you get points for different things. And it's like I'm in a LEED platinum house, and leadership in energy and environmental design, that's LEED, and you can get silver, gold, or platinum. I was able, fortunately, because I'm a working actor, I was able to get platinum, the highest level. But whatever you can do, if you can get silver or gold, you do that. You do what you can do, and people are doing it. You get that rating for your home, and you get a good rating if you're doing a green TV show, commercial, or movie.
Oh, tell us about the LEED home and how you ran into the trouble of you were going to renovate an old house, and you ran the trouble and you donated. I mean, that blows my mind. Because I see renovations going on here, people making, tearing down little 1950s houses and building mansions or a lot bigger houses, and all that stuff is going to the landfill.
I found myself unwillingly at first involved in that very problem. what happened was I lived in a wonderful little 2-bedroom house. I lived in 26 years, the longest I'll probably live anywhere in one house, but it was a great house, 2-bedroom, very modest. And I made it as energy efficient as I could. And then my wife, I was single when I bought it. So my wife, Rochelle, she wanted more closet space, and you never want to deny the lady in your life more closet space, or the man in your life, or whoever that it is. So I was fine. I had a little tiny closet. She wanted more space. And so we had different designs to make that home that we lived in more energy efficient. None of them penciled out because it just was too big for the small lot our house was in. So I said, here's the thing. I'll move. She wanted me to move from that house. I said, I'll move if you can find a place with a south facing roof, has a good spot for my vegetable garden in back, a good site for a big rain barrel in back, a big 10,000 gallon rain tank. And if you find all that for this price, I wrote a number down and said, I'll move, knowing she'll never find it, ever, ever. She found it within a week. And so we moved in this place. So now the story begins to finally answer your question. We had a giant and have a giant oak tree to the south of this house. When we realized we had to get up with the solar panels out of the shadow of that beautiful oak tree, there would be no solar half the year on the panels because of that beautiful oak tree that, again, you don't want to, to get solar, you don't want to take down a 100-year-old oak. That's a bad trade. So we said, we got to go up to a second story, and the existing home could not support a second story. When we got into the foundation and the studs and the wall and what have you, it wouldn't sustain it. So then we didn't want to throw away that old house either. So we had somebody come and recycle everything, the doors, the windows, the appliances. That's the easy pickings. Then they took down the drywall and crumbled up the gypsum out of that and used that as a soil amendment. They took down the old 2x4s, which are old 2x4s, which are exactly 2 inches by 4 inches. Today's 2x4s are, 1.5 by 3.5. And so 1 3/4 by 3.5, I think. And so all that stuff and the bricks that had mortar on them, and the nails in the boards, it was very labor intensive. But people down in beautiful Mexico, they wanted those materials. They had the time to take the nails out and knock the mortar off the bricks. And they built a wonderful church with it in Mexico from my recycled house. And the other stuff we gave to Habitat for Humanity for their store to sell different doors and windows and appliances. So 96% of it got recycled. That's a good number.
96%. That's quite amazing. Quite amazing. You also have a line of cleaning products. Is that it? Begley's Best Company?
Yeah, it was originally called Begley's Best. Now it's Begley's Earth Responsible Products. They're in Texas, and they'll be in San Diego soon, and also in Chicago. But if you just type Begley Cleaning at Amazon, you can find out where it is. We sell it on Amazon. We'll ship it to you, or you can buy it at Costco, as I said, in a few locations, soon to be many locations in Costco. I just wanted to do something with a company to make a green product so that people had something they could clean with that wasn't toxic, because you got your kids and your pets crawling on the floor, putting their fingers in the mouth, the babies, and the pets putting their paws in their mouth. And sometimes those toxic cleaners can really make an animal, a grown person even, sick to be around the fumes. So these are all non-toxic, clean, green products. And thank you for mentioning it. It's another good way to help out environmentally.
Ah, there we go.
Very nice of you. Thank you, Rabbi.
Nice
That's
plug.
very sweet.
Nice plug. So,
Thank
yeah. So what's the latest? What are you working on now?
Right now, I was very happy to celebrate with Eli, that regional connector there. I've been promoting a lot of mass transit options. My daughter and I, as you mentioned, I think we took the subway to the Oscars. I'm doing a lot of stuff with Metro. I have a book coming out October 3rd. It's a Hollywood memoir talking about the environment a little bit, but talk about my life with my wonderful father, Ed Begley Sr., a great man that was a great actor and a great father, taught me a good many wonderful things. And so that'll come out October 3rd. So I'm doing those things. And we have a strike here going on with the Writers Guild right now. So I'm in support of them, of course, to get equitable pay and what have you, and deal with artificial intelligence as writers and actors and directors. And we're dealing with that. So I have some time off, not working. So I'll be out there promoting my book.
Oh, does it have a title? Did you say?
It does. It's about me trying to find serenity as a young man, but doing it in a mad way. It's called To the Temple of Tranquility, and step on it.
Great.
I tried to rush serenity, which is a little counterintuitive, I think.
Yeah. If people have questions, I should mention this before, you can put it in the chat for us. That would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes, I ran out of questions. Does anybody?
There are some questions in the chat.
Oh, that's good. Oh,
Do you want me to read them? Can you open the
yeah,
chat?
yeah, they're not actually, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not, my
Not
eyes are not
showing
so
up.
great. Forgive me. I can't
Mr.
quite-
Begley, you mentioned, I'm reading this from Susan Cooper. You mentioned corporate
Oh,
responsibility.
there we go.
What can be done to reward and encourage corporate responsibility? And what kind of meaningful punishment do you recommend for corporations that pollute our air and water?
Well, the EPA has some great regulations about wetlands and about species loss and biodiversity loss. And so there are fines and fees and other very harsh consequences for doing something that's illegal and destroys, a wetland or a forest or something like that. That's on the minus side, but there's a lot of carrot too to do the right thing. There's so many subsidies nowadays and pots of money to help people. Back in the day, Denny Zane, who's in part of Move LA, he was the executive director of the Coalition for Clean Air. So we would, we would encourage people, different dry cleaners, to get away from perchloroethylene. But a lot of these mom and pop small dry cleaner operations didn't have the money for that. So we made sure that there was a pot of money available for anybody that wanted to get the non-perc, the non-perchloroethylene chemical dry cleaning equipment, to get the cleaner equipment. And so there's many incentives out there. And now, with the wonderful bills that Brad and Adam have passed and Joe Biden has signed as regards green jobs and green infrastructure, electric vehicle charging, what have you, so many corporations, green or not, can make use of those wonderful, dollars coming from the federal government to support these good efforts. So it's gotten a lot easier to be green at the corporate level because there's a lot of help from the federal government. And California, there's a lot of help as well.
There's another question here from Bob Schloss. Why don't the credits at the end of TV shows and films show the net green production score? Why isn't this information on sites like IMDb?
That is the best question I've probably heard in years, because I never, ever thought of it. I'm embarrassed to say I never thought of it. What a great idea. They should have that. It just take a second to put it in the crawl, and it's something that people know. Everybody's either said, I don't care about that. Very few people say that when making a movie or a TV show, but so they'll get their rating of 3 or 0 or didn't participate. But so many other people, I think, are going to be proud that they got a very high score. And that's something I'm going to look into. I know the people to talk to about that. Who said that? Who had that great idea?
Bob Schloss. SCHLOSS. Yes.
You're an idea man. Thank you, Bob. That's a
Yeah,
great
he's got a lot of
suggestion.
great ideas.
And I see one more question here from Barbara Inwald. We have a significant problem with plastic pollution. What are the bottles for your products made from?
I'm embarrassed to say they're still made out of plastic. There's recycled plastic in a lot of the stuff that we ship out, but I've been lobbying for a while I don't own the company. I'm their spokesperson, and I have a certain amount of power with that. And I've been lobbying for glass. For now, there's problems with breakage, and more importantly, with shipping. It costs so much more to ship it with glass because it's so much heavier. That's why I can't think of any cleaning product that is out there that has glass now, but there's got to be a way around that. I thank whoever said that for reminding me of that. I'm going to make a renewed effort to get these products in glass. There's got to be a way. I'm hoping that people want to pay extra for that. Maybe people will, and I would certainly like that. But single-use plastic, we've got to stop with single-use plastic. We had this fantasy for years that you could recycle it. Very little of it gets recycled. There's a lot of aluminum that gets recycled, of course, because it's a very valuable resource, and newspaper does to a certain extent, and corrugated cardboard does, but plastic, very low number of recycling actually. So thank you for who mentioned that. I want to thank them again.
I apologize.
Barbara
Go ahead.
Inwald.
I'll find out later and thank
Barbara
them again
Inwald,
in some way.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good thing, and that's someplace that I want to get to. And as I said, it's not my company, but my name's on the bottle, and we're going to get there. Sadly, I can't think of any cleaning products that are in glass still. Maybe Pine Sol is still in glass. So I got to find out how they get around it. I got to talk to people at Pine Sol. I can't think of anybody else.
Yeah,
There's something-
Ben Rosenthal is saying there are these laundry detergents now that take the water out and they make
Right.
sheets.
They make a pill. There's like a powder or a pill you put in there and
Yeah.
mix it up.
So Ben Rosenthal is saying, could you dehydrate them and put them, then you can put them in paper.
You could put them in glass because then you'd have a lot less weight, even counting the glass, because you're not shipping water around America, around the
Exactly.
world. Yes,
Right.
very
Yeah.
good idea. I'm going to pursue those and I thank them both. Very good.
Susan
Okay,
Desmond asks, how can we better educate people about the everyday hazards in using throwaway plastic?
Spread the word. Single-use plastic is something we have to stop it ASAP. I mean, this is something that's good, I think, made out of plastic. There's some metal here, but there's some plastic in the lenses. That's a fine thing. Medical supplies, a lot of them are plastic, but the pointless waste on bottles and straws and all those other things that don't need to be plastic. There are alternatives to all that. I have a hot mug that I take around. I have a stainless steel for cold, water or a cold drink. I have a metal straw that you have a little cleaner, like pipe cleaner thing to clean it out. I don't have any single-use plastic, and it's very little of it is left in my life at all of single-use plastic. It's all, in your computer, you've got some plastic, of course, and things like that. But it's that single use. It's just this huge volume of straws and things and cups and lids and stuff that's just doesn't need to be. There are alternatives, and we have to pursue them. And I mean right away. It's a bad thing, the plastic that's out there.
Okay, for extra credit, how do you say single use in Hebrew? I
I
believe
wish I knew.
it's a
You got me.
chad pa'am one time. Okay.
Yeah, had fun.
Uh,
Melanie has a good closing question here. There's so many threats to the environment, both terrestrial and aquatic, too many to count. It can be overwhelming. How do you keep from getting discouraged and not losing faith in making a difference?
I look at the successes we have. We have many challenges. We've had a few, I won't call them failures on our part, but things we didn't get that we wanted that were good things. But many successes, like the cleaner air in LA, even though there's 4 times the cars and millions more people. Look at what we did with ozone depletion. There's a huge hole in the ozone, big and getting bigger. We stopped CFCs. No more CFCs. They said, oh, you'll never be able to buy a refrigerator again. You won't be able to buy an air conditioner. I'm told they still sell those 2 devices. I've heard tell that they're still available for purchase, but they took the CFCs out of them. Used to get a McDonald's burger, what have you. Not that I've eaten a burger since 1970, but it had styrofoam made with CFCs. And corporations, big and small, stopped with the CFCs. And now that hole is not the same size, it's smaller. We did that. That's a huge success. The Cuyahoga River caught fire in 1969, just before the first Earth Day. Another reason I got involved in 1970. The Cuyahoga River caught fire. That doesn't happen anymore. The Hudson River was so polluted you couldn't eat the fish. That's changed now. The river is greatly, greatly cleaned up. We can do this. We can apply our successes and how we did it with good legislation, corporate responsibility, and personal action. Those 3 things, you can do anything, and we will.
We will. Well, on that note, that last question was from Rabbi Ed Rosenthal. I have to give credit where credit's due. And on that note, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Ed Begley Jr. And thank you so much for visiting with us and giving us courage and great ideas. And I hope that you will keep the faith and keep up your good work. And I look forward to your book coming out. So blessings on you and your family and the sacred work that you continue to do and that you've been doing for so many years.
Thank you, Rabbi. Bless you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's terrific to have you as a guest. All right. So for our final speaker, not our final speaker, but our last guest speaker, I would like Lisa Friedman. Is she here? If we could highlight Lisa, she is going to introduce our next speaker. And Lisa Friedman is the co-leader of our Southern California Jewish Earth Alliance group. And she will introduce the final speaker. Lisa has for many years been a supporter and an active participant of Jewish environmental education and the Jewish Green Movement. She's a proud member of the ICAR Jewish Community of Los Angeles Green Action Team. And she is delighted to introduce Representative Adam Schiff as a valued friend of the Los Angeles ICAR community. So Lisa, can we highlight? There you go.
Yes, so it's my honor to introduce Congressman Adam Schiff, who needs little introduction. His media exposure in 2020 to millions was followed intensely as he defended democracy in America and sponsored the Protecting Our Democracy Act. But let me highlight Representative Schiff's devoted work to the environment. As the youngest California state senator elected in 1996, he wrote the legislation establishing the Gold Line Light Rail Authority that reaches 31 miles from Los Angeles to Azusa. As a federal prosecutor in Los Angeles, he is credited with starting the first environmental crimes unit in the country. Representative Schiff was first elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 2000. The congressman is an original co-sponsor and consistent champion of the Green New Deal. He is a resilient advocate in fighting to protect natural resources, habitats, wildlands, and wildlife. He has opposed misguided and dangerous attempts to roll back environmental protections and to strip the Environmental Protection Agency of its authority to regulate air pollution. He's a persistent supporter on the most aggressive legislation, such as the Inflation Reduction Act and control of gas emissions. Adam Schiff, in his 12th term, is a bold member of Congress who envisions an Apollo project-like effort to end the use of fossil fuels, invest in clean and renewable energy, and build a modern economy that supports millions of green jobs. We thank you, Congressman Schiff, for taking this time out of your very busy schedule to speak to the Jewish Earth Alliance this evening.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join you. And I want to thank you for the work you're doing to literally help mend the world. I'm not sure that Tikkun Olam ever had a more appropriate application than when it comes to trying to save the planet. But I'm grateful to you and thank you for the chance to address you tonight. As you were mentioning, Lisa, I've got a long record on the environment that goes back to my days as a prosecutor when I formed an environmental crimes unit in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles and prosecuted the first ever case of the international smuggling of hazardous waste out of the country. This was toxic waste being smuggled to Mexico and dumped in Mexico. And the drums were being used by people in these communities in Mexico that didn't know what they contained and emptied them and filled them with rainwater to wash clothes and do other things. We were able to secure a conviction in that case of the company that was engaged in that conduct. I was also able to prosecute Chevron for dumping excess oil and grease into the ocean. And that the work of that environmental crimes unit continues. But in Congress, I'm very proud of what we've been able to do with the Biden administration in the Inflation Reduction Act. I've long been advocating a very strong approach to dealing with climate change over the years I've been in Congress. And indeed, one of my initiatives I hope is coming close to fruition. It's a bill I introduced to more than double the size of the Santa Monica Mountains Recreation Area, one of the most heavily utilized recreation areas in the country. In the 1970s, Congress had the foresight to know that as Los Angeles grew, there would be more encroachment on the wilderness, displacing the indigenous species and also impacting the availability of that kind of open space for future generations. And they created this park. It's one of the most heavily utilized urban parks anywhere. And we're at another crossroads when, unless Congress acts once again to expand the boundaries of that park, it will be lost to development. Wildlife corridors will be cut off. And one of the things that people love about living in my district and in other districts nearby is the opportunity to be in a urban suburban environment, but nonetheless have mountain lions in our backyard and bears and coyotes and other incredible wildlife. We were able to get My bill to study expanding the park passed during the George W. Bush administration and signed by that president. We were able to get that study funded during the Obama administration. We were able to get that study undertaken during the Trump administration. And now we've introduced legislation to make it so, which is the process that you have to go through before you expand a park. It's a laborious one, but we got that bill passed in the House last session. We got it passed in the Resources Committee in the Senate this session, and now we needed to get it all the way through both houses of Congress. But in the Speaker's first iteration, Nancy Pelosi's first iteration as Speaker, I was then urging an Apollo Project-like effort to wean ourselves off of fossil fuels. And I continue to urge that. And I'm very proud, as I said, of what President Biden did in the Inflation Reduction Act and the most sizable investment we've made in attacking this problem. I do think that there's good news when it comes to the ability to get ahead of the tipping point. And I think this is really important. When the UN issued its report a year or two ago and said that we may have already crossed the tipping point, I think it was so demoralizing as to be paralyzing, and we can't afford to be paralyzed. And what's more, I think there's good reason for optimism. And I say that because science and technology have given us the ability, I believe, to get ahead of the tipping point. But it does mean that we have to stop incentivizing the use of fossil fuels that are killing the planet. And it does mean that we're going to have to robustly incentivize the development of renewable energy, the transmission of renewable energy, the storage of new renewable energy, and new technologies. I was proud to be among the first to urge, as an appropriations committee, a dramatic expansion of something called ARPA-E. This is the DARPA-like agency focused on research and development in the renewable energy space. And that, the prospect of these developments that are bringing down the cost of solar and bringing down the cost of wind and developing much longer battery storage capabilities with new cars coming out with 600 to 700 mile ranges. We can get ahead of this, but we do need to make sure that we can implement what we've passed, that we can get these solar facilities constructed, that we can transmit energy from where it's generated to where it's needed, that we develop these promising new technologies, and that we lead the world in the development of renewable energy. So I think we know what we have to do, and now we just got to get it done. And I really appreciate your willingness to champion this cause. It is so consistent with Jewish values and Jewish teaching, and I'm grateful to join you tonight and support your effort.
Thank you so much for speaking to our group tonight, taking time out of your busy schedule. These people on the call, they work so hard to support the hard work that you are doing in Washington. And you touch base with all of our priorities from last session and this session, and all the speakers here just overlap in all of the things that we are working on specifically. So I want to thank you very much for taking the time. I'm wondering.
It's wonderful to join you. And there weren't many good things to come out of the pandemic, but the ability to zoom in on your meeting is one of them. And thank you again for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, we used to hand deliver handwritten letters to members of Congress for people from across the country, but now we have meetings. They have meetings with their members of Congress on Zoom, and it's been a really great change that was affected by the pandemic. So you're right. You're right. All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and efforts, and all the best to you.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night. Well, I want to thank all of the speakers tonight, Adam Schiff, Brad Sherman, and Ed Begley for coming. Oh, I wanted to mention that Hawaii is in the house. I just noticed that my friend Hank Trapito Rosenthal is in the house tonight. And so we've got more than coast to coast. I made a call to Alaska, but I'm not sure they're here. If you're here, let us know. Okay, send up a balloon. So thank you all so much for coming. And now we're going to do an action. And I want to call on our steering committee member, Judy Burlfine, from Encinitas, California. Sorry, Encinitas, California. And she is our woman of action. She has been leading actions at the end of our meetings for several months now. So she's going to do that again tonight.
Thank you. And Matt, if you can share my slides. Thank you all for hanging in there for a few minutes after the hour, because this is really the most important part where you do something and make a difference. So one of the topics that's all of you know is so important to address in combating climate change is methane, which is a major component of natural gas. So I have 3 slides we're going to whip through, and then you all are going to have the opportunity to submit a comment on how we can stop the methane leaks that are contributing so greatly to our climate crisis. So the bad news that I'm guessing all of you know is that methane is a very potent greenhouse gas, more potent than carbon dioxide. And when that natural gas and the methane, which is a key component, leak from oil and gas pipelines, they emit massive amounts of methane into the atmosphere. But the good news is that we have this amazing satellite technology, as Representative Schiff talked about our technology, that allows us to detect these emissions. So they no longer are hidden away. And once we can detect the leaks, we can fix them. So there's a agency within the federal government I had never heard of, and probably you haven't either. It's called the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. Falls under the Department of Transportation. And they're currently evaluating stricter rules to crack down on these leaks. So next slide, Matt. So here's a picture of what that satellite technology allows us to do. It's a little bit scary. The red is where the leaks are, the emissions are incredibly high. The green is somewhere in the middle, and the purple is good. You don't really hardly see any purple on this map. So there's a lot of methane going into the atmosphere, but we do have the ability to stop that. So the next slide. This shows the within the US, the gas transmission and hazardous liquid pipelines. So the blue is the gas transmission down in Texas and Louisiana, Oklahoma. It's the lines are very dense. And so it gives you a sense of where all this gas is being transmitted. So what we're going to do, next slide, thank you, is there is this new rule being proposed that enforces, requires the companies managing these pipelines to identify and seal the leaks within the pipeline. So what you need to do now is open your browser, and we are going to submit a comment on the Federal Register. It can be very simple. Ideally, you'd put it in your own words, but if you don't feel equipped to do that, this is what the message that we want to convey. Amy just put the link in the chat, so you can click on that. You'll end up at the Federal Register. And the message is promptly finalize the proposed rule. This is the number, and I will put the exact message in the chat also. Using new satellite technology, we can identify and stop methane leaks like never before. Protect our climate, stop methane leaks now. So that's the gist of it. Let me get it into the chat. I'm not quite as good a multitasker as everyone else here, but there's the message. Oh, can you keep the screen up, Matt? So it's on, everyone's looking at the message. They don't need to look at me.
Hang on, if I were more adept, hang on just a
That's
second.
okay. Take
Oh,
your
you're
time.
doing great.
So when you get to the Federal Register, there'll be a little green rectangle that says submit a comment. You click on that and it allows you to include a comment. It indicates there are only 4 comments, and those comments are all from industry asking to delay the rule. So all the more reason that we all need to submit our comments to prevent a delay. A delay would allow this to move into the election time and potentially a time when if Republicans come back into power, that they could delay the implementation of this rule. So, okay, somebody's writing on here. I don't know who that is or how that is.
Graffiti.
I believe only the host has the ability to turn off annotation at the moment.
Okay,
Well, you can still read it.
you can still read it. Let me see if I
We
can turn
don't
off
know exactly
annotation.
why it's there. If anyone's having trouble finding the website, put your question in the chat. If anyone has any questions about what we're saying and why we're saying it, put that in the chat and let us know. Otherwise,
I
work,
thought you needed spray paint to do things like that. All right, sorry.
work on submitting your comment. If anyone's having trouble finding the page, let us know. But since you're all quiet, I'll assume that you're all working hard at this and figuring it out, which is great. Barbara Inwald said it's quick and easy. She just did it and it took 30 seconds.
It's asking me what my comment is about, and I
Yeah.
don't know what to choose.
Sure, there's something that says proposed rule. That's what I would choose. Thank you for speaking up.
Don't forget to put your name and what state you're in on the comment.
Well, they will ask you for your name when it says, are you an individual? And you can indicate that, and then they ask you for your name. But I can't remember if they ask for your state. So you can put it in the comment also. Definitely doesn't hurt. Thank you, Morgan. Someone asked if you can send it out by email. Oh, can we send the information to you by email? Yes. And if all of this information is in our action alert for this month. In fact, there's a lot more information that goes into depth that Amy, who's on the call, put together and did a fabulous job. So if you go to the Jewish Earth Alliance website and click on the action alert for June of this month, it has the link to the Federal Register. So if for some reason you're unable to do it right now, you can definitely do it tomorrow, but the deadline is the middle of July, so we need to get these comments in as soon as possible.
And do we want to put individual or organization?
You can put individual, and then they ask for your name.
Sorry, I clicked on a link. My name's Arlene, and I am now looking at the Federal Register. It says pipeline safety, gas pipeline leak detection. Is that correct?
It will say, okay,
Oh, no.
and do you see on the right-hand side a green rectangle that says submit a comment?
Yes, it does say pipeline safety. That's the one you want. And the place for comment is over on the far right-hand side. It's a green box.
It says submit a formal comment.
I saw that, and now I'm looking, it says, thank you, time, for taking the time to create a comment. And then there's a box that says comment.
Right, that's where you put your comment, in that box that says
And
comment.
then it says, what is your comment?
And then you put proposed. When it says, what is your comment about? You say rule, proposed rule, final rule. It's alphabetical, so you look under rule and click on that.
Okay, okay, proposed.
Rule, proposed rule, final rule.
Wait a minute, this is, now I don't know what.
Okay, keep asking your questions. It's good to be able to answer them in real time.
No, this is now looking for me to print. I don't want to print.
No, you don't need to print it.
No, I don't want
Thank you, Matt. That is the page that people are going to.
So we'll give you
2
1
more
or 2
minutes.
minutes, and then
We really appreciate people staying this little extra time, and we appreciate Judy preparing this for us. But if you're on the phone, as a number of people have written in, and you need to do it tomorrow morning, that's great also.
yeah, and we can send you the information. Yeah, so this is what the page looks like. Maybe Matt, can you scroll down and show them under, yeah, right there under what is your comment about? You pick rule. Yeah, right there.
I see a lot of people saying Laila Tov, and we want to just take a moment before people sign off to thank all our wonderful speakers this evening. Representative Adam Schiff, Representative Brad Sherman, Californians who lead our nation on these issues. As a Californian, I can feel very proud about that. We also want to thank our environmental comedian, the actor Ed Begley Jr. We want to thank Judy for leading us through our action, and the entire team from the Jewish Earth Alliance, especially our intern this summer, from whom you'll be hearing a lot more as we get going on Lobby Day. That's Lily Feingold Sachs. Today was Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, the beginning of a new Jewish month. And as we close our meeting tonight, we pray that we all may be renewed from this experience and our strength and our motivation and our willingness to act. And I look forward to talking to all of you further as our lobby days approach. So please sign up and please recruit all your friends. And Rabbi Dvorlin, we want to say a final word of blessing as we go on our way.
Yes, I want to thank a few more people, Amy Finkelstein-Dick, Matthew Weld, who handled the tech, Melanie, Aaron, Judy Burlfine, Lisa Friedman, Eli Lippman, who introduced, of course, our speakers, Davi Cohen and Kyle Abrams from Adam Schiff's office, and Katie McCool and Corey Max from Brad Sherman's office. So, Tzedek Tirdov, keep up your faith. Get support from your friends, and come back and visit us next month, and sign up for lobby days and come back and visit us next month for another wonderful meeting. And we will see you then, and take care. Keep up this sacred work to heal the earth, and may you be blessed with much nachas for doing that. And blessings to everyone for good health and happiness to you and your families. Bye.